I have to ask you about psychedelics.
Okay.
One of the most incredible things when I always get stopped on the street and people ask me about you and the episode was just how honest you were about psychedelics, your psychedelic experiences. And I remember I asked you at the end of the show and I was like, I knew you were speaking with the UFC about this commentary job. It's a high profile job, and yet you were open and completely honest about your use of psychedelics, what they mean to you, your ceremonies, how you conduct yourself. And it really meant a lot to me. And you said at the end, you said, Brian, I've always been open and honest about myself because that allows me to have the right experiences and connect to the right people. And you even said, I wouldn't be even sitting here talking with you guys unless you had known about my psychedelic interests and some about me. And so I've always talked openly about my use, and we did our shows on DMT and ayahuasca, which is funny because now with the new set and the suits and the da-da-da, people don't realize that my DMT episode has 750,000 views, and we're going to be on London live television in January, and people are going to see me in a suit talking to Chris Eubank. But also with a few keystrokes, they can see my before and after ayahuasca episode. They can see me talking about psilocybin mushrooms, about DMT. So it'll be interesting to see how that's received. But with you, it doesn't seem to have affected, you and your position and your job. If anything, I think fans see you as just a more congruent individual. So I wanted to ask you about, is it always just like that? Do you ever get any kind of blowback from a professional standpoint or from other people that just don't understand? And then what's your continuing relationship? Are you back to Peru soon? And where are you at with our medicines?
Well, I've actually just booked another trip to Peru. I'm going back after the London show. Just kind of feel like it's time to revisit that. I've had a few ceremonies since the last time I was here, in and around North America. I've had some great experiences. I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of good breakthroughs, and I'm starting to understand my relationship with psychedelics much better. I've had a little break recently, sort of 4 or 5 months, but I can feel a pull back towards psychedelics again now. I'm feeling like 2016 is going to be quite turbulent. I don't know why, but I am much better now at trusting my instinct. And I feel like getting out to Peru and going deep for a couple of weeks is going to be good for me.
Good preparation for the year that's going to come. When were you in Peru for your first ayahuasca ceremony? Would that have been 4 years ago, 3 years ago? You went after the Sadala fight or after
Ludwig fight?
After the Ludwig fight. Okay.
It was literally, fought on Saturday night, Van Halen show on Sunday night, and then I flew Monday.
That's incredible. And you had planned that for a long time, right? That was something you were going to do. That's probably 4 years ago?
It was 2012.
Okay. All right. Okay. Where are you now to where, say, you were then,
I don't know. In some areas, I feel like I've made a lot of progress. In other areas, I feel like I've taken a few steps back. But I don't, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it would be a bad thing if I didn't acknowledge it. I'm certainly not as. I felt like I was far more laid back a little while ago, and now I feel, and maybe it's because I've been spending a bit more time in London, and I do feel London differently to any other place. Like as soon as I drive inside the M25, my body temperature rises a couple of degrees. Whether I'm in a car or on a train, no matter what, I just feel London, and I am been spending a lot of time here, so I feel like there's I'm a bit out of balance because of that. I'm sure you experienced that.
It's hectic here. Funny enough, our shaman that I did our ceremonies here in London with, we call her Susie because that's what she wants to be called. But she used to tell me, like many shamans, they spend a lot of time back in Peru and Brazil. Like they're almost there half the year. And that makes sense. And she said, Brian, the medicine says I have to be here because this is where everyone needs my help. Because, it's almost like you can tell by the topography of a city how much they need the medicine. And when you get these high rises, it's where there's a lot of tension, aggression, negative energy. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, New York is the equivalent for me, where I find it like London times 5, where I just get in Manhattan, I'm just like, how can anyone relax here? Even in Central Park, I'm like, there's buildings everywhere. And so, these conglomerations of cities and commerce and media, you're in the media business, I find it when I'm in LA on Hollywood Boulevard, I'm just like, oh, this is just the celebrity factor really warms my body temperature, as you would say. I feel like the medicine's needed more there, where you feel like you maybe need help.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I need to redress the balance a little bit. I still feel like, I mean, all of the progress that I made during that first trip to Peru still stays with me. I still have a really good ability to step out of a situation and view it from a removed perspective, which is kind of what we were talking about with the breakdowns, I guess. You know, removing myself from the situation.
Yeah.
But in any situation, in any kind of conflict with people or anything like that, I feel like I can manage the situation better because I can read the person, I can read the emotion and the feeling of the situation, and I also don't get as kind of caught up in everything as I used to. I used to feel like, I think I said this on the last one, I always used to feel like my problems were just all around my head. It's like wearing one of those Australian hats with all the corks. I feel like those corks are all my problems, and anywhere I go, they're smacking me in the face, and I can't get away from them. Whereas now I feel like I can take that hat off, and I can remove all of my problems from my person and view them separately. And I feel like I can handle things a lot better than, you know, because I had a habit when I was younger of just getting angry because that was the person that I was, and I was angry all the time because don't come near me because I'm angry, because I like to be left alone, and I like my space and my peace and quiet. And that hasn't changed, but I've dissolved the shell that I had around myself where I pushed people away. I'm now far more open to people, but I'm also understanding of the fact that there's a point where I need to remove myself from a situation to charge myself up. I mean, people have different ways of charging themselves up. Some people like to go out to clubs and bars and stuff because they get energy from that. That charges them up. I'm the opposite. I'm the guy that needs to, you know, I've been working all day. I need to go back to the hotel and shut the door and be in absolute silence and peace and quiet for a good few hours, and that's what recharges me. Yeah. So I'm my relationship with myself is improving on a daily basis. I'm understanding what I need, what I have needed in the past, and what I need going forward to be as productive and as happy as I can be.
You had the great line from our last episode where you said, ayahuasca doesn't change a person. It just allows them to understand themselves better. And you articulated it better than anyone who's been on here, including, you know, Rick Doblin, Dennis McKenna, some real great psychonauts. But that was a great way of saying it, because a lot of people get caught up in the ceremony and the revelations, and they think they come back as this new version of themselves. But I think it does just allow you to understand yourself better, and it's just the start of a journey. You know, and I still hold things from my ayahuasca ceremony, my second big one, but I still see things that I need to improve on.
Yeah.
And I need to go back every now and then. And with London Real, I get caught up in getting bigger and the set and our academy. But since I've had that ayahuasca ceremony 3 or 4 years ago, I know that okay, Brian, it's getting a little too hectic here. You're getting a little too caught up in the hype. It's getting a little too capitalistic. You need to go back to the medicines, go talk to the psilocybin, and just make sure that you're not way off course here. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I go back and I don't get taken to the woodshed, and sometimes I get taken to the woodshed and I really get a scolding. You're nodding.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I've got some of that coming in Peru. I've got a feeling that it's going to be a pretty intense couple of weeks.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to LondonRealAcademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at LondonRealAcademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there, and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.